Brother Monk John, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to answer a few questions.
Yes.
Well, I suppose the first question for me, as a kind of Irish person, is a Theravada monk.
Okay.
So, can I just get a small explanation? What's the kind of difference, or what exactly kind of type of monk is that?
There are three main schools in Buddhism.
Okay.
The first one is called Theravada, or the traditionalist.
Okay.
The thing is that after the Buddha passed away, there was no one who actually will pinpoint which one monks could do and which ones or which behaviors monk could not do. So there were two kind of approaches. The first approach is to not to actually change any rules at all, even though the Buddha permitted that in the future rules could be changed. The second group say, yeah, let's change, because if you're going to change, then it's not very easy to approach people and to teach them in the future. Like, for example, my cloth. This is the cloth that's claimed to be like the original cloth in the Buddha's time.
Okay.
But this cloth doesn't help me deal very much with cold weather. If
Right.
I'm in Thailand, that's perfect. But if I would have to come and maybe live in Ireland, this is a little bit too cold. And I just been from Iceland before coming to Ireland.
Wow.
I was almost an ice monk.
Yes. Yes.
So this is a little bit too cold, and a group of monks said we should change, we should adapt, and that came what they call Mahayana Buddhism and eventually Tibetan Buddhism.
Okay.
But for the traditionalists, we actually try to preserve the tradition and try to change as very little as we can. As a result, you didn't actually see much of Theravada monks traveling around the world because the environment that may be perfect for them is the country that they live,
Wow.
like in Southeast Asia, for example.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the difference.
It's as simple as that. Okay. So I've meditated for years on my travels, or I've tried to. And of course, by 10, 20 minutes in the morning breathing, I don't think I've actually ever meditated. I don't think I've ever went into any state of meditation. How can one go just that level deeper? Is it just practice, or do you just have to keep breathing, or can you be doing it wrong for years and not go deeper? Is there
Right.
how can you get that extra level?
Well, the progress in meditation depends only on two conditions. First, you need to use a proper or correct method.
Right.
And second, you need to keep doing it consistently,
Every day.
like every day,
Every
very
day.
often.
Okay.
And if with these two conditions, we be able to progress.
Okay.
And the thing is that sometimes even the progress that we have made, we actually kind of devalue them, or maybe they're losing its value because we are not mindful with our actions. Even though meditation helps us to improve our behaviors, make us feel happier, and our actions are going to be more positive. The way we think, the way we speak, the way we do. But sometimes we accidentally did some actions that also will cloud the mind. So I talk about this as a quality of the mind, there are actions that will clean the mind, actions that will cloud the mind. And when we do actions that will cloud the mind, then of course the meditation becomes harder. It's like you try to build your muscles. If you want your muscles to be strong, you have to do exercises every day, right? But sometimes you are a little bit too relaxed, you're a little bit too lazy, you actually go to gym, you actually work out. That actually makes your muscles weaker. And as a result, sometimes you need to start all over again. And people didn't understand this. They thought that the progress that they made so far is going to stay with them forever. But if your body muscles are weak, of course you need to start with little weight.
Yeah.
And this is what people refuse to do. They try to jump into the big weight and try to lift it up with the mind that is not ready. And as a result, they usually feel that meditation was not for them.
Okay. Okay. So you spoke a lot about action there, actually. So I guess without getting taught how to meditate, essentially it's going to be very hard to move forward. So I tried kind of breathing deeply in the morning for a few years, but I'd never been to any lessons. And so essentially I'm probably just breathing without any action or without any teaching. I'm probably not making too much progress. Is that kind of fair enough? You should try and get some lessons.
Right. Meditation is about balance between concentration and relaxation.
Okay.
It's not about relaxation alone, because sometimes we breathe in and out just to feel more relaxed. but we need to also have the balance. So the mind needs to concentrate on something.
Wow.
Okay, and this something can be described in terms of two qualities. First, the feeling, and second, position of the feeling. So
Okay.
you need to feel something somewhere.
Okay.
It means that when you breathe, your mind needs to focus not only the flow of the breath, but at a special point. For example, this meditation method that I teach, we focus at the center of the body.
Okay.
It means that when your mind is off the center or is not in the center, your mind is not at its focal point.
Okay.
If you compare like a magnifying glass, or your optical glass, there is one spot that if you see through that spot, you get the clearest picture. This is what we call the focal point of the mind. So the mind is purified the best, the energy is magnified, and also we can stay there longer. Because if you don't actually stay at the most stable point of the mind, your mind could be distracted. Imagine like a long hanging bridge. If you are crossing a very long bridge, you need to make sure you stay at the most stable position of the bridge.
Yeah.
Otherwise, go swinging the whole time, right? So the center is the most stable point. And if you keep your mind at the center, and the ability to stay there longer can be developed. And if you can stay there longer in meditation, that is when your mind will also deepen into more profound experience as well.
Well, that line, that one line, that balance between relaxation and concentration. I mean,
Yes.
I've had a wee moment there because I think I've always just tried to relax.
Relax.
And
yes.
I think I've gotten better at that, but I think that's
Yeah.
as far as my
Right.
teachings have went.
People are used to doing one thing at a time. When they
Yeah.
relax, they relax. When they concentrate, they concentrate.
Yeah.
But they will never really learn how to do two things at the same time.
Yes. No,
And
I'm
if
not
we
there.
learn to do these two things at the same time, not only our meditation will progress, but in our life we can do things, very difficult things, yet the mind is still feeling relaxed. And this is a very special gift
Wow.
that you can give to yourself, because it's going to help you to deal with any situations in life.
Yes. So that message that you're spreading, the reason why you're here and doing
Yes.
retreats, balance, inner peace, is it something? What is at the core of that message? Is it just to try and help people find more balance in their lives?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And also to help them find more inner peace, because this inner peace is not what you can actually get always from people, from surroundings. Usually we are used to looking outside of ourselves. We thought that maybe going to this place makes us feel happy. We go there. But once we are there, maybe after a few months, few years, started to feel bored and we need to move to another place. Or maybe we thought that eating this food will make us feel happy. We go there, we eat the food. But if you eat that food for many days in a row, you started to feel bored, and then we need to keep changing this. Our clothes, our hairstyle, nothing will actually make us feel content forever. So these finding actually may lead to a questions. Why are these things actually have expiry date according to the amount of contentment that we receive? But the answer is maybe we are not searching at the right directions the whole time. We are searching outside. We're supposed to be from inside. So working your body is called workout, but working for the mind should be called work in. You have to work from inside. You find the happiness inside, and you don't actually need to depend on others to make you feel happy, which sometimes could be inconsistent.
Of course, yes. Do you think that they seem to be both happening? My generation seems more unsettled, more unbalanced, and yet I think there's a growing trend of people wanting to find it.
Yes.
Like, do you find your message is growing at the moment, and people are looking for that balance? Because we know deep down it's true, and yet we can't seem to get there.
Right, absolutely. And this is like an irony that people in the East, we are fond of like advancement of technology from the West. While people in the West at the moment, I see in many places, many countries, they are more interested in well-being, especially mental well-being. So the trend is going the other way around. And we even have a joke that in the future, maybe you can see foreign monks from
Yeah.
the West, shaving their head, wearing a saffron robe in
Yeah.
orange, more than people of the East,
Yeah.
because we actually might be looking at something that we lack or something that we're missing.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, well-being is the buzzword at the
Yes.
moment, and there seems to be a real hunger for that.
Right.
But I think we're making steps. It seems
Yes.
in the last 10 years,
Yes.
there's big trends, especially
Yes.
in my country.
Right. But I believe that the two words, they have to go together.
Of course.
I'm not encouraging that, hey, guys, let's quit your life, become a monk,
Yeah.
and live with no job and do
Yeah.
not do anything that you're doing at the moment. But I try to encourage people that you do what you're doing, but you just have to be more content and more happy in your belief in what you're doing. Just try to add a part of your life with more inner peace.
More inner peace. Can anyone become a monk?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Actually,
Oh.
it's technically almost everyone.
Everyone
There's
can.
some exceptions, but
Okay.
almost everyone, yes.
And what, I know it's a sort of a silly question, but what would be the hardest part? Would most people just not have the discipline of what it takes to become a monk? Is it just the pure discipline needed,
Yes.
or mental strength?
Yes. Actually, then we have to come to first the definition of being a monk. A monk are those who try to search happiness from within and not without.
Okay.
It means that during the monkhood, we will have to undergo a training that helps us to focus from within. But one challenge that we take people back from this part is their own habits. You know, I'm not a Buddhist monk ever since the first day that I was born in my mother's womb. So I also had my habits from the previous life. I mean, like before I became a Buddhist monk, I was a software developer. I worked with technology. I had my PhD, and then I became a Buddhist monk. And the first weeks, the first months, I was not a Buddhist monk, even though they put me this orange robe, and I thought it was like some magical robe that once you put on, you become a superhuman being.
Yeah.
But it was wrong. I was like, hey, I didn't change at all. This robe didn't change me. So I found out later that monk's habit are something that you have to develop on your own, and you have to, and it is achievable by trying to do new habits that will replace your old habits. And this is challenging because otherwise you always fall back to your old habits the whole time. And that's why monks, we have a lot of rules just to take us out of the habit that we try to look for Netflix movies, or maybe try to have some fun, or maybe try to um, do some parties. We can't do them anymore. And we have to just come back to maybe to learn more meditation, and maybe to teach people how to meditate as well.
Wow. Yes. Now, this is sort of an unusual question, but when I was living in Thailand for a long time, from an Irish perspective, I was struck by a huge contrast between Christian churches, Catholic Irish churches, very grey and kind of dark and austere, and the beautiful sunny temples. Would there be any lessons there for kind of the Catholic Church in Ireland of how it could become more inviting, or is that just completely separate?
I would believe that what it takes to be a good temple should comprise of three conditions. This is what my great master told me. First, the temple needs to be clean and quiet. Second, the temple needs to actually have meditation activities, like some peaceful activities. You know, if probably in Catholic churches they don't have like meditation like what we have in Thailand, but maybe some peaceful activities. When people come to the temple, then they actually can like change that and feel more peace, you know. And the third is there must be lessons taught about how people change themselves. If people come to churches or temples and they don't have any lessons to change themselves, why do they have to come to the temples where they can find those lessons on YouTube or maybe somewhere else? They probably will go somewhere else and find those lessons. So without these three conditions, even in Thailand, it doesn't matter what colors the temple is. You know, even maybe a little bit grayish or a little bit of temples in the cave. But if that makes people's minds feel more calm, more peaceful, that is also a good place to go.
Well, number 3 there is not, lessons. Yes, that is not part of our religion system,
Yeah.
but it's not even about religion. We don't have lessons. There's nothing there to teach you
Yeah.
the benefit of the church, and I
Yeah.
think that they are missing something there. So discipline, and so obviously we're here with the kind of Middle Way Hostel, and we're attempting to try and build something of a hostel, the Middle Way Hostel, and Bodhi Co-working Business Center. In terms of business owners that are stressed, would you have sort of a simple one-step piece of advice? If they were to just take that one step to try and de-stress as business owners?
Right.
What
Do you
think?
know the meaning of the middle way?
Well, a balance of moderation.
Okay, middle way means it has at least 3 meanings.
Okay.
Okay. The first is what described in the scripture in Buddhist texts.
Yeah.
That it is a way of life that you don't actually indulge yourself to 2 extreme parts. The first part is you torture yourself. You know, you try to stop eating food. You try to stop watching any movies, any films, or you torture yourself.
Yeah.
Like you give yourself punishment, something like that. And the other extreme part is you indulge yourself in all the sensual pleasures, and you don't care about anything in the world. You live like hippies, if I may use this word, but yeah. So you should need to find a lifestyle that's in the middle.
Yeah.
The second refers to a meaning of meditation practice. It's the balance between relaxation and concentration. So not too much into the concentration, not too much into the relaxations. It should be 50% relaxation, 50% concentration, and these two has to be in perfect harmony. And the third refers to a very special point. It's called the center of the body. This is the center of human beings and the center of all their energies as well. So when you keep your mind at the center, you also keep your mind at the middle way. So with these 3 meanings, for business owners, for business people, I would say that they should focus on the second meaning. Of course, the first one and the second. The first is they should not indulge themselves into one word. You know, the word that they will just maybe have some parties the whole time, having fun the whole time, or the other word they will just torture themselves with work, with stress, and so on. They should live in a middle way. And second, they should also find balance in everything that they do. Like if they work, they should learn to relaxingly. They should smile to their employees. They should make a live environment that is not too stressful for everyone to work. Everyone should have joy and have fun in working. And if everyone can find peace also as well from working, then they will keep working, and the whole organization is going to be improved. And the third one, of course, if people can meditate and give themselves time so that they can bring the awareness to the center of their being once in a while, that is going to help them recharge. It's like you have your phone, but you never actually recharge it. Eventually, the energy in the phone, the electricity, the battery will drain out, and you can't use the phone anymore. We ourselves also have 2 parts, the body and the mind. The body is like the hardware of the phone, but the mind can only be running when the phone has battery. And this battery, if you recharge yourself, keeping your awareness at the charger, which in this sense, the center of the body, once in a while, you have enough juice, you have enough energy to perform tasks without being interrupted.
So to get that energy, diet would come into play. Would you have a lot of advice in terms of mental clarity with relation to diet? Is diet very strict to help kind of mental clarity, or?
Well, we usually will say that you eat healthy food, you have enough food, but you not too much food. So anything in moderation. We even have one practice that before we eat, we will close our eyes and contemplate upon the purposes of eating. For example, I eat to survive. I do not eat for fun. I do not eat for pleasure. I do not eat for flavor, but I eat to sustain myself. So I should not eat too much or too little. I should actually estimate the amount of energy that I need in the day just to have enough food for that.
Okay, of course, yes. And so that balance, that middle way, do you think the environment, of course, has a lot to do with finding that harmony? So how could we bring that harmony into our hostel in our business center. Is there anything we could take away from a Buddhist temple, or how could the architecture and everything help
Mhm.
that harmony?
Yeah.
Is there any lessons there?
Yeah, there are what we call four sapaya, or in Thai we call four sabai. And I think you learned
Sabai,
about
yes.
the meaning of the word sabai a little bit.
Yeah.
There are four kinds of sabai. Okay.
Okay.
First, the place has to be sabai. It means that when you enter the place, you feel more relaxed. You don't feel stressed. You don't feel any tension. There's no chaotic things. It has to be clean, organized, and tidy. That makes the mind feel sabai. Second, sabai people. Not only the place, if your hotel is perfect, everything is decorated very well, but people in the reception look like not very welcoming to people. When they are in the hotel and people are not very nice, they're not very sabai. Their mind is not at peace. So train people to have best hospitality possible, and also welcome everyone with inner peace. If people in hotel reception has the inner peace, people coming also can feel the inner peace,
Yes.
because this can be felt not by talking, not by looking at the eyes, but by staying closer to each other. You can feel the aura from people body.
Yeah.
If you can get close to someone and that someone is so loving, you want to stay close to the people, and the people will come back to your hotel again. And the third is the food. If the food, or facilities, in hotel, maybe not only the food. When we talk about retreat sites, it's mainly the food. But of course, food and hotel facilities should be also sabai.
Okay.
And the last one is the teaching. If the hotel also has some training, some teachings available, that makes people change themselves, that makes people find inner peace. That is the four components. It's going to make a hotel unique, and also I think people will get the most benefit of this Middle Way hotel.
Okay, I think well, we're on to something. So honestly, you've combined your teachings as a monk with your studies, which is telematics and engineering, to create that digital platform.
Yes.
Just tell us a bit about trying to bring this kind of Buddhist teachings into the digital world.
That's because I travel to many places. I organize many retreats, but people say that if they could, they would actually bring me to their pocket, to their backpack, and like take me wherever they go.
Right.
But in reality, it's not possible.
Yeah.
So these days, the world becomes smaller, and we get connected much more than before. So I believe that technology also has two sides: the good benefits and the drawback of using technology. But what if we can focus on how we can bring benefits of technology and make the most of people? And that is how I believe the things that I learned also be useful, and we make a platform so that people can meditate online. And also they also sometimes will receive my teachings from Facebook, from YouTube, and many of them are still meditating. This is what actually I take as like achievement for almost. We've been doing this. Some people that we met almost 7 years ago, 8 years ago, they are still meditating. Their lives have changed.
Oh, okay.
And this is maybe something that I should be proud of myself.
And the final question: you're a part of this new, the Peace Revolution. So just tell us a little bit about the Peace Revolution and what you're trying to achieve.
Actually, this begins with a belief that you really want to find peace, you have to revolutionize yourself. Because, as I mentioned earlier, that we always fall back to our old way of thinking and doing. You want to meditate? Yes, tonight maybe you can meditate. But tomorrow, you try to meditate again, because you know that meditation is going to help you clean your mind. But tomorrow, you will be listening to two voices in your head. The first voice says, yes, let's meditate. It is good. Let's do it. The monk says so. The second voice will say to you, yeah, meditation is good, but not today. Because I have so many work, I have many things to do, I have kids to take care of, I have challenges, my health is not in the perfect condition. And if I meditate today, tomorrow I wake up so late and I don't have enough energy. So yeah, not today. And these two voices are fighting in our head the whole time. So if you really want to revolutionize yourself, you need to stop listening to the negative voice and start focusing on the positive voice alone. And that's why the change has to be 360. And we use the word revolution and not evolution. and it becomes like a platform that invites many people, especially young people, because they are a little bit more technology savvy or something like that. And yeah, it has been, I think, for almost 10 years at the moment. If you go to peacerevolution.net, you find as well like achievements, like how many people, countries, they are like what we call leaders or representatives or the name, by the name peace agents from all over the world. And I think up to 140, 50 countries at the moment.
Oh, wow.
And when they meditate and find their own inner peace, they also share with people around them. For example, I'm in Ireland because a peace agent invites me here. I don't actually come here because I just want to relax or have a vacation. I come because there's meditation. When people find inner peace, there's the feeling one day people will feel, and many people have felt that you want to not be this feeling alone. You just want to share feeling with people around you.
And final question: what do you think of Ireland? How do you find us a balanced nation? How are we doing on our stress levels of Irish people? Are we slightly a balanced nation, or how do you find it?
Well, I can see a little bit of the difference between bigger cities and smaller cities, you know. But I think Ireland has so many wonderful things just to make people happy. Of course, I see happy people and I see unhappy people. Then for happy people, I believe that with the practice of meditation, it's going to help them appreciate more of what they have. So they actually have to fly out of the country, maybe once in a while, and and enjoy more of what they have. For unhappy people, meditation and mindfulness practice is going to be a very good start for them to um, begin a new life, a life that they can be happy from inside of themselves. And I believe that if Irish people do more meditation practices, um, this is going to be a very wealthy country in terms of material success and also spiritual success. So both two things can be together.
Perfect. Brother John, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.